Hello, Veritas Academy. It's Mr. Fischer coming to you today. And today I'd like to talk about the topic of words and the power of words. Now, language is a very powerful thing. We can see this very clearly in the scriptures. In creation, God speaks creation into existence. In the New Testament, we see the preaching and proclamation of the gospel, and all through the scriptures, we see leaders using language, sometimes very effectively and well, and sometimes very ineffectively, sometimes very sinfully and poorly. So it hit me this last week, and it's really been something that I felt a number of times over this last year, that we've seen language really be misused in our culture. Now, when language is misused, when it's used for bad purposes, that doesn't make language lose its power. It's still very powerful. But when leaders use language to obscure instead of reveal truth, or they use language, it's like sometimes people will use euphemisms to make bad things sound good. When that happens, especially when it happens in leadership, whether it would be leadership in the church or leadership in the state or the local community, things really go wrong. We see people taking irresponsible action sometimes because they've listened to powerful language and it leads them in the wrong direction. Or we see muddled responses. I mean, you can think of times when a leader might give say something like in a battle, and if it's not said clearly or not stated clearly, the troops can't make a right response. I was really sad. Last couple of weeks, I was having a conversation with Dan Spanger, our board chairman. We were talking about a particular cultural issue, and we both felt like we don't really even have hope that we will ever know the truth about this particular issue because the language is being misused so much that we don't have hope that we'll ever really know the truth. That leads to kind of apathy, which is terrible. But then as I was reading the scriptures this week, God reminded me that's this problem that we're having is exactly why classical education exists. That's exactly why we take so much time with your children, teaching them to write. It's the hardest thing that we do, is teaching them how to write and to speak very effectively, because we desire, we think it is of paramount importance that the young men and women of this school learn how to use language and how to use words effectively and to harness that power for good rather than for ill. So if you wonder, why does Veritas so interested in writing and in speaking and all of those things? Why is classical education so interested in that? It's because words are powerful, and we need to help the young men and women that we're raising up in these schools throughout our culture to be people who can use the power of language to defend those good and precious things, and to defend their faith. So thank you, and I wanted to just give you hope that help is coming, that schools all over our country like Veritas Academy are arming and equipping young men and women, not with carnal arms. I mean, those things are not what these battles are for. We need people who can use words. We need people who can use words very effectively. So hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you later.